Hey YouTube, it's V the Notary. I hope you guys are doing great today. So last week I posted a video that was kind of controversial, which I was very surprised about, but I'm always surprised when I post stuff and it incites a reaction that I just had no idea it would incite. But it was the video where I talked about, just my experience as a federal employee and just, that I know some people that have been laid off. And God forbid, hopefully, this does not happen to me. But it was a video of compassion, right? And so the video was like, I just, well, let me not say, I don't want to be too extra because a lot of you gave really great feedback. I have a great community of people. I know for a fact a lot of the feedback that I was getting are not subscribers or people that are familiar, with my channel, and that's fine. Like we want to reach everyone, and I am by no means a content creator where you have to agree with everything because I do welcome, different points of view. I guess for me, what I was taken aback by was the like disrespectful comments and just rudeness, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not having none of that here. So, just a heads up, if you are rude and disrespectful, I'm just going to delete your comment. I'm not going, I will sometimes chat with you, but I'm not going back and forth, because this is just, we don't want to foster a community like that. Really quickly, before I go any further, you guys, like, subscribe, and share. Show me some love. Like the video. Let me know that you appreciate me doing this content. Okay. All right. So, but yeah, the video was interesting in the fact that some of the feedback. Number one was just rude, which I was surprised by. I guess I shouldn't be because that is just the world we live in. Everyone's not going to be as kind as you might be to them. But there were just interesting points of view. And so what I want to kind of piggyback off of is like, are layoffs fair? And I'm really sincerely asking, are they fair? Not even getting into the legalities of anything. Are layoffs fair? Okay. Now, we all see what's happening in the federal government landscape. There are a lot of different rifts happening. Whether you agree with them or you don't agree with them, that is your business. I have my own personal views, but you have yours, and I respect your points of view. I may not agree with it, but that is your point of view, right? Are they fair? And I also want to say this, whereas the visibility of federal employees being riffed and laid off and everything is heightened, right? Just because of what is happening in the country. I want you to keep in mind it's not just us that are being laid off. And it is federal contractors, it is the whole gamut in the private sector outside of the public sector. The public sector is the government. So it's not just us. So let me just first say this, because I had some comments where some people on the other video were saying, well, layoffs, we've been getting laid off, so I don't know why you're crying about it, and or something along those lines, right? And I was just like, that is true. This is not even new to the federal government. Every year federal employees get ripped and laid off. Okay. So in addition to the private sector, layoffs are happening, and it happens in the federal, landscape too. Every year it hasn't happened in droves like this, and not since I've been a federal employee. And so now I'm going to say this, whether you work for the private sector, you could work in the banking industry, you could work for a grocery store, you could work for whomever. It's devastating, you guys. So I'm just saying, like, have compassion for people. Either way, whether you feel that whatever it is that you feel about federal employees, because a lot of you guys have very strong opinions about federal employees as well, and most of you don't even know what we do. That's a whole different video for a whole other day. I'm not even going to get into that. Like, it's interesting that you have opinions about something that you know nothing about. That's a whole other video. Again, you can have your opinion on whatever. But it's one thing to have your opinion about the government in general, right? But it's one thing to like lack the compassion. You know, these are people with families at the end of the day. And again, let's take the federal government out of it. I don't care if you work at 7-Eleven. Number one, everybody should be treated with respect. And number two, if you lose your job and your source of income, that is tough to bounce back from. You know, everyone doesn't have savings, 6 months of savings. Everyone doesn't have a backup plan. You know, hopefully this is opening our eyes up to having other things, you know, in the pocket. But everyone does not afford it the lifestyle that maybe you have. So it doesn't matter where you work. If you get laid off, it is devastating for you, for your family, for your kids. These are people with kids, you guys. And so I just want everyone to keep that in mind, that I'm not I am very well aware that people get laid off every day. Again, it's not in the news the way it's been. I'm aware of that. And I'm sad about that too. I don't care who it is. It's sad because it affects your livelihood, especially if you are even if you're not the main provider, it's going to change your life in the course of things, right? Unless you have a job that's immediately lined up, it's devastating for anyone. So just have compassion for people. That's all that I'm asking. Maybe I'm asking too much. Everyone doesn't think like me. But either, regardless of how you feel, be kind to people and have compassion, because I guarantee you will want to be afforded that same, courtesy. Okay, so that's number one. Now, are they fair? Are layoffs fair? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. But I will say this: sometimes they are necessary. And the reason why I say that is I'm thinking with a business mind, right? You know, maybe it's a company that, you know, is in over its head and they have to start cutting costs somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's fair in instances like that. There, you know, where you have to cut costs, and unfortunately labor is a large cost that could be the number one source of, shelling out money for a company, right? In those instances where maybe you're not bringing as much revenue, you might have to start cutting costs somewhere. Maybe it is fair in that instance for you to, lay people off. It doesn't make it any less devastating for the person being laid off. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. In the instance of the government, again, I have my feelings about whether it's fair to lay someone off or not. But I really wanted to do this video because some of y'all are like really mean. And I'm just disappointed in humanity in general. Like, like some of y'all are really angry and you have misdirected and misguided anger, and it's like you have so much disdain for what is happening in the government. And I get it. We want to cut waste where we can, and when things are wasteful spending, but there are ways to go about it, and that is what is kind of bothering me. You know what I'm saying? There's ways to go about all of this that I don't necessarily agree with. And again, even if you're laying off someone in 7-Eleven, I feel like there's a dignified way to do it. Because I'm saying maybe it is something that is necessary, but there are ways to go about it. And so I just want everybody to keep in mind, look, we are all working hard. You should be working hard to try to support your family, your friends, your kids, and just be compassionate, because we're all going through different struggles. I don't agree with a lot of things that are happening in politics. You probably don't either. However, that doesn't mean that you deserve any less respect than me, and vice versa. That doesn't mean that you should just treat anybody or relish in somebody's pain. Like, that's not cool. And I just, I'm seeing a lot of it, and it's just unfortunate. So, again, are layoffs fair? Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're necessary depending on the situation, but it's just a way to go about it. And then there's also just a way as a human being to just have compassion for people in general, because we're all going through shit, you guys, all of us. And I'm just not happy about anything. I don't care if it's someone who's been on the job for 20 days or if it's someone that's been on a job for 20 years. It doesn't make it any less devastating. And that's what I just want people to keep in mind. Like, this is hard if this is something that anybody is going through. And absolutely, I feel for anyone, I know layoffs tend to happen quicker in the private industry. There are less protections. So I guess I get that sentiment of like, of thinking in your mind, maybe like, well, this is happening to us all the time. Why are you guys, it doesn't make it any more or less difficult regardless. That's my point. I don't want to, belabor the point, but that's just what I'm trying to say. So, again, what sparked this is that just the last video that I did, I just was kind of disappointed in some of y'all. And you could probably care less about my disappointment, but this is my channel, so I can, if I want to express that I'm disappointed in just the feedback that I got, then I'm gonna do that. And if you don't like it, you should create your own channel where you can express your feelings. But I'm always going to be respectful, to everyone. And regardless, I appreciate if you disagree with me or not. I appreciate the view. I appreciate you guys being here. But I'm going to, continue to promote small business growth. I'm a realtor, I'm a notary. And so those are the things I'm going to focus on. Especially now, I really want to put out some really good content that motivates not just you, but me. Like, we all need some motivation right now. Okay, so hopefully this video didn't offend y'all. I don't think I said anything. I'm out here trying to promote, positivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, so hopefully I didn't say anything that upset you, but I just want us to all be compassionate towards each other. That's it. So like, subscribe, and share. Share with someone that you might think needs to be more compassionate, or someone that is compassionate, because we can all use some of that right now. Okay. And as always, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.